20 Mind-blowing facts about Mount Everest. The elevation of Mount Everest is 8,848.86 meters, 29,031.7 feet, above sea level. It was recently measured in 2020 with the authority of Nepal and the China government. The mountain was named after George Everest, a former Surveyor General of India. Its Nepali name is Sagar Mata, meaning the head of great blue sky. Likewise, the Tibetan name of Everest is Chomolungma, meaning Holy Mother. We've given our best to present 30 interesting and amazing facts about Mount Everest and climbing it for your information and entertainment. Hope you enjoy it and maybe you'll consider coming to see it yourself. 1. The name Everest was originally proposed by Andrew Waugh. The most renowned mountain was named after George Everest, who was the British Surveyor General of India. But, the original idea of naming Everest was by Andrew Scott Waugh. Andrew Waugh was a British Army officer and Surveyor General of India who served under Sir George Everest. 2. Mount Everest is technically not the tallest. Yes, technically Mount Everest is not the tallest mountain. Everest has a height of 8,848 meters above sea level. Hawaii's Mauna Kea is the tallest mountain base to peak at the height of 10,210 meters but only 4,205 meters above sea level. Mauna Kea is the dormant volcano island of Hawaii. It is the highest point in the state of Hawaii as well as the second tallest peak on the island in the world. The authorities have leveled Mauna Kea as the tallest in the world, from its base beneath sea level. Moreover, it is the only Hawaiian volcano with evidence of glaciers. 3. Mount Everest is now 8,848.86 meters high. The foreign ministers of Nepal and China have confirmed the new height of Mount Everest at 8,848.86 meters above sea level. The mountain has increased by 86 centimeters. Before it was 8,848 meters. The height of Everest was measured by the Survey of India in 1954. Since then, the height was globally accepted as 8,848 meters above sea level. Whereas, China claimed the height of Everest as 8,844 meters. In 1999, the U.S. team even measured the height higher at the elevation of 8,850 meters, which was sponsored by the National Geographic Society, U.S. 4. Nepal and China are the owners of Mount Everest. Are you wondering where is Mount Everest located? The summit of Mount Everest is on the border of Nepal and China. The southern side is owned by Nepal and the northern side by China. It might be interesting cause it is one of the coolest borders in the world. Above all, Nepal and China are the owners of Mount Everest. 5. Mount Everest rises 40 centimeters per century. The peak of Mount Everest is gradually increasing by approximately 40 centimeters per century. This phenomenon is caused by the uplifting of the Eurasian plate by the Indian plate sliding underneath, which results in an uplift of the Himalayas. The process can be broken by natural calamities like earthquakes. About 50 million years ago, the Indian plate collided with Eurasian plate, which formed the Himalayas and the Tibetan Plateau. The process continues today, which means the mountains are growing eventually every year. 6. Mount Everest has two heights. With the latest survey in 2020, the authorities have presented two different heights of Everest. It might sound weird that a single mountain with two different heights. However, both heights are logically correct. The heights of Everest are described below. 8,848.86 meters, the height is also called snow height. The height is measured along with the surface covered with snow or ice. The height was officially recognized by China and Nepal governments in 2020. 8,844.43 meters, it is the geological height of Everest. Also, recognized as the rock height. The rock height is measured without any snow or ice. It was measured by China. Later, it was confirmed by Nepal too. 7. Mount Everest is about 60 million years old. What is the age of Mount Everest? Is always a hot topic to discuss. No one knows the actual age. But according to some research and experts, it is estimated that the age of Everest is around 60 million years ago, the time when the Himalayas was formed due to the collision of the Eurasian plate and Indian plate. 8. Everest's climate is one of the harshest in the world. Everest has one of the harshest climates in the world. How wouldn't it be, with unimaginable altitude and all you see is glaciers and snowy mountains? Above 5,300 meters the mountains are capped with snow and ice all year round. Violent storms with strong winds are common. If you ever dream of Everest Base Camp and Everest Expedition, you should always wear protective gear as required. 9. Nothing lives on the top of Mount Everest. There is no sign of life on the top of Mount Everest. Also, Nothing lives on the summit. How could it support life when the temperature is always below -20 degrees Celsius? Also, there is no source of food to survive. Harsh weather and lack of oxygen are other reasons for not supporting life on the top of the world. Surprisingly, there is life below 6,700 meters. The Himalayan jumping spider is a small and toxic jumping spider that can live up to 6,700 meters above sea level. It is the only highest known permanent resident on Earth. Below the altitude of 6,000 meters, you can spot other animals such as snow leopard, Himalayan tahr, and Himalayan yak. 10. Dead bodies are a common scene on Mount Everest. When climbers die climbing Everest, their bodies are left on the mountain. It is almost impossible to bury a dead body due to ice-hard ground. Dragging or carrying dead bodies requires more physical effort and causes short of oxygen. So, dead bodies are a common scene on Mount Everest. It is believed that there are over 200 dead bodies on Mount Everest. No one is sure about the exact number yet. 2/3 of the people who had died while climbing is still resting in peace on Mount Everest. The rescue of a corpse can cost $40,000 to $80,000. If you ever tried to summit Everest, for sure you can encounter some of the corpses en route. Likewise, there are some famous bodies. Green Boots is one of the famous images. He was identified later as he was Wangpal Yor from India. 11. About 300 people have died on Mount Everest while climbing Mount Everest. Climbers face life-threatening obstacles and every step is a risk. As of January 2021, the study has stated that 305 people have died while attempting the summit of Everest. Also, the majority of corpses are still there. The major causes of death are avalanches, hypoxia, exhaustion, and hypothermia. Some of the rare events like falls and other absurd accidents are also the reason for some deaths. Khumbu Icefall is one of the deadliest zones on the way to the summit. It is said that the glacier has claimed most of the lives. 12. The average death rate is about 1% on Mount Everest. As we have talked about before that over 300 people have died while summiting Mount Everest. Over 5,000 people have already submitted to the top of the world. Although the number of deaths is increasing, relatively the death rate has decreased below 1%. 13. The death zone is above 8,000 meters. The death zone is defined as the region above 8,000 meters on Mount Everest. At such a high altitude, the oxygen concentration is very low. Normally, at residential altitude, the air consists of 20% oxygen due to air pressure. Above 6,000 meters, there is still 10% oxygen. But when you cross 8,000 meters then the oxygen level drops to 8%. When you reach above 8,000 meters you are breathing 12% less oxygen than usual. In which supplemental oxygen is very important. Without supplemental oxygen, one can just survive for a few minutes. Also, consequences can turn for the worst. At an altitude of 8,000 meters, your body cannot acclimatize or sustain itself. Your body will slowly die because of hypoxia and hypothermia. That's why it is called death zone. 14. There is a 2 o'clock rule when climbing Mount Everest. Every climber follows the 2 o'clock rule when climbing Mount. Due to harsh and unpredictable weather, climbers must reach the summit by 2 p.m. The result can be devastating. You can get caught in the death zone and fall short of reaching back to camp. In addition, it gets dark sooner and falling temperature is another issue too. Furthermore, there is tragedy story about Mount Everest. In 1996, Rob Hall and Scott Fisher along with their team attempted the summit. But they miscalculated and made poor decisions. They successfully summited Mount Everest, however they ignore the consequences of descending. The tragedy happens on the way back to their camp. Later, Fisher described it as the 2 o'clock rule. It means that the climber should reach the summit of Mount Everest before 2 p.m. If a group cannot reach the summit before 2 o'clock then they must abandon the summit and proceed to descend before it's too late. 15. The movie Everest was partially filmed on Mount Everest. We have just talked about the Everest disaster Into Thin Air in 1996. The book was later presented in movie title as Everest. The movie shows the true story of the mountain disaster in a realistic version. Talking about the movie, only some parts of the action were filmed on Everest. Most of the scenes were filmed in studios. The movie Everest was released in 2015. Although the movie is based on the true story of Everest, the movie was filmed partially in Everest region. Pinewood Studios from England is in charge of making the movie. The scene of Lukla Airport, Namche Bazaar, and Everest Base Camp was filmed in Nepal. In 2014, when the second unit shooting crew went for shooting to Camp 2, the avalanche struck killing 16 Sherpas. However, the filming crew remained unharmed because they were not there where the disaster took place. Later, the movie was completely filmed on green screen with CG imagery from studios. 16. Frances Arsentieff is known as Sleeping Beauty on Mount Everest. Frances Arsentieff is the first woman from America to reach the summit of Mount Everest without any oxygen supply. Sadly, she died on the way back due to hypothermia and cerebral edema. Since then, she has been sleeping on Everest. And then she is recognized as Sleeping Beauty on Mount Everest. In 1998, Frances Arsentieff along with her husband Sergei Arsentieff set off for Everest expedition. They were climbing without oxygen, so they slowly ascended to the summit, which forced them to stay a night above 8,000 meters. At the time of descending, she was not in good condition. On the way down, some Uzbek expedition team found her body lying on snow, still attached to a guide rope. At that time, Arsentieff was 40 years old and she had a son. She was such a bold and brave woman. Her corpse is nicknamed Sleeping Beauty. 17. Everest has been summited over 9,000 times. Isn't it an interesting fact that the world's highest mountain has been summited over 9,000 times? The first record of the summit of Everest was in 1953 by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay Sherpa. Since then, more than 5,000 people have stood on top of the world over 9,000 times. Among them, some of the Sherpas have climbed more than once. 18. Kami Rita Sherpa has climbed Mount Everest the most times. Kami Rita Sherpa is a Sherpa guide who reached the summit for the 25th time on May 7, 2021, making the record for climbing Mount Everest the most times. He breaks his own record, which he held in May 2018. Moreover, he has another record for the most 8,000 meters summit. Along with Mount Everest, he has summited 38 times. In which, Kami Rita climbed Everest 25 times, Cho Oyo 8 times, Manaslu 3 times, and Lutsa K2 just once. 19. An average Everest climber needs 35 hours of bottled oxygen. According to Nepal National Mountain Guide Association, they have stated that on average a climber uses 7 bottles of supplemental oxygen for both up and down. Each bottle can last up to 5 hours. So, it means that a climber needs 35 hours of bottled oxygen. 20. It takes 10 weeks to climb Mount Everest. Climbing Mount Everest? Well, it is not just a normal adventure. It can take 10 weeks or more than 2 months to reach the summit and descend successfully. All those times are utilized for acclimatization to adapt your body to higher altitudes. Also, waiting for good weather can consume some extra time too. Everest Base Camp is at the height of 5,364 meters, which only takes some days to reach, not even 2 weeks. The majority of days are spent on the climbing route. It does not require much time to reach the summit, but what goes up must come down. So, jointly, ascending and descending, can take up to 2 months. In some cases, it can take more than that. Here's one of the interesting facts. On May 21, 2004, Pemba Dorje Sherpa ascended the summit of Mount Everest at the time of 8 hours 10 minutes, creating a world record for the fastest ascent on the top of the world. Bonus fact: it takes at least $30,000 to climb Mount Everest. The normal cost range can be from $30,000 to $85,000. The fully custom expedition can cost up to $115,000 or even more. A climber must pay $11,000 to Nepal government for the permit to climb Mount Everest. Normally, the cost includes transportation, camps/tents, Sherpas, food, and supplemental oxygen. Thank you. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more interesting facts.